Have you all heard this quote? The investor who stays invested despite the storm in the market are the ones who usually enjoy when the sky is blue. Do you want to know the meaning and reference of why this quote is said? Also, there are a lot of people who withdraw their investments in SIPs, especially when there is a lot of global turmoil and negativity. Do you want to know the reason why it happens? Hi, this is Anirudh Bellare here. Welcome to the 48th video of Your Best Financial Life series. In this video, you will be learning why not to withdraw all your SIPs when it is not yet matured according to your financial goal. And there are a lot of emotions which goes on and takes place with your money and investments, which eventually cause you harm if you do panic selling and panic withdrawal. So see, the point of this video is how you can ensure that you can have a stable mindset and not let the opportunity cost ruin your compounded growth, which will eventually help you if you don't do it. Let's move on to the first and most critical important point. And this video is going to be in a story-wise format, whereby it will be easy for you to understand and learn. Let's move on to the first point. See, the first point here is again, the names of the characters are fictional because I don't want to take any real example in terms of names. So as you would have seen my previous 47th video, which is a continuation of this video, whereby I taken certain examples. So now let's take the example of what? Let's take the example of, again, let's go with Raju and Raji. Raju and Raji. These are two people over here who invest their money for their long-term gains because both of them have their own differential goals. Now see, when I give the bifurcation of these both, there are so many problems which happen in their life, which eventually is the most testing period of their life. Like I'll give you an example. Raju over here, unfortunately, he had an accident, and because of which in the past he had not taken life and health insurance. As a result, he has to pay a lot of hospital bills because of that accident, because it has caused a lot of trouble to him. And this is the time where your human body becomes extremely important because you need to pay the bills of hospitals. Now, how will you get that money? It is pretty obvious. Hospitals charge a lot of money, especially if you go to any hospital. Why? It depends on what type of treatment you go there for the hospital. Now, in this example, because of this accident of his leg, now what and all the treatment and everything what the hospital has done, finally the hospital charge for Raju has come to around, say, 6 lakh rupees. Now rupees 6 lakh. Now Raju's annual salary is, say, 6 lakh rupees. Now what is annual salary? 6 lakh rupees means what? Somewhere around 40 to 50,000 between that comes to his bank account. Understood? Now, because his hospital expense is so much and he wants to fund all of this with his own money rather than asking his dad. So what does he do in this scenario? In this scenario, he stops his SIP and he removes all his SIPs, that is systematic investment plans, because it is pretty obvious that you have to save your life first. Then only your SIPs become important. This is what he thinks. This is what Raju thought at that particular scenario. And Raju was investing from the past 5-6 years. So say immediately after the COVID crash recovery, he started investing in his SIPs. As a result, what happens? One portion of the investment from his SIPs he removed and he paid off his hospital bills. So 6 lakh rupees he paid off as his hospital bills. Now, once his hospital bills were done, and eventually after a period of time he got recovered, that is when he became fully normal. Very good, nice ideal scenario. But the time between the removal of his SIPs to the restart after 1 year, that 1 year gap from 0 to 1 years in his recovery time was where he was not able to collect units. Now see, there is something called units in any systematic investment plans, especially if you go with the mutual fund industry. Now see, this is not a financial advice. You can please consult your financial advisor for any investment related advice. Now this is just a example here. In the 0 to 1 years during his recovery time, he paid off all his bills. Very good. Now he is full fit and fine. But the unit price which he could have accumulated at that 0 to 1 years, because of a lot of geopolitical tensions and the market correcting itself by at least 10-15%, he lost that chance. So what is the opportunity cost here? To save himself, obviously he stopped the systematic investment plans. As a result, what happens? He was not able to continue his SIP investments. So this is scenario 1. Now moving to scenario 2, which is the case of Raji. Now with Raji, what happens? Now see, Raji was in a scenario whereby everything was going smoothly in her life. Her salary was also very decent and she was living a comfortable life. Then she comes to know that her child has to go through an appendix operation. And once the hospital started to do all those operations, she came to know that there is a serious problem with her child. And for that, she has to pay a sum of at least rupees 4 lakh, which is also a big amount. Now in this scenario, because Raji's salary is like, say for example, 12 lakh rupees yearly. So 12 lakh rupees divided by what? Yeah, so it's around 90,000 to 1 lakh rupees could be her annual earning. Now this is also a scenario where both are employees in an organization. Business income is treated different, but here it is both of them are employees. Now in this scenario, because see, very true, child is very precious, very important, and any parent always remember money will come and go, but at that particular moment, if you have to save somebody's life, whether it's yourself, your spouse, your child, it is very crucial you go for that. Now see, because Raji had that cushion, because she was earning more, what did she do this time? She thought she will pay off all the hospital bills of her child. So she paid off this 4 lakh rupees, but she did not stop her systematic investment plans. She had used this jar system whereby one portion of her amount, 30,000 rupees, was going into systematic investment plans, which was untouched. She did not touch that. Now for getting this 4 lakh rupees, she had an emergency fund and she had whatever savings she could keep apart from her investments, which eventually helped her during need of the hour. Now because of this, what happens? In the same 0 to 1 years where Raju was recovering and he stopped his SIPs, that's why this cross mark is here. The same thing with Raji over here, she continued her SIPs. Now in the 0 to 1 years, what happens? As I told you, because of geopolitical issues, 10 to 15% of the market had corrected and she was able to accumulate units. Now because she was able to get this units, what happens? Now fast forward to 4 to 5 years later. Now 4 to 5 years later, the units of Raji collected in the financial year, whatever the financial year was, I don't remember, these units in 1 year, whatever she could accumulate, was the eventual game changer of the wealth made in her investment account compared to that of Raju's investment account. Now see, with this story, what can one conclude? If I can conclude something for you, it is going to be how important it is, first of all, to have an insurance with you. Now you take any type of insurance. Now see, again, this is not any promotion of insurance, but see, in INS is nothing but insurance. Just, okay, I'll write it fully. Now the difference here, the most bonus point here, bonus as in an important point, is insurance. Now see, usually insurance is taken by people. It's pretty obvious. Any insurance should be taken, and I obviously recommend this to you. Recommend as in, it's a suggestion that once anyone starts earning, a portion of his salary should go towards insurance. Why? Because again, in unforeseen circumstances, it's that insurance money of yours which will eventually help you, and it will not have a hit on your investment account or your salary account. So first point, most important, is insurance over here. The second is something called your emergency fund, which I've kept on telling this to you, which is your emergency fund. Now, because of this fund, what happens? You have a particular type of fixed deposit or saving or whatever you do, because of which it gives you a third cushion alternative. Now, what is the term cushion over here? It's something on which you fall back on and it will save you. Now, take for example a normal cushion on the bed. Now, what does the cushion do? It gives your head rest so that you feel comfortable. The same thing with your finances. Now, what is this cushion when it comes to money and investments? Is that when something happens to you or when you need that rest from behind, that amount of money is available with you and it can help you in tough times. So the second point which is emerging here is nothing but your emergency fund, and the first point is insurance. Now, third point is one of the most important. It's how you treat your emotions at that period of time and the decisions, whether you stop your systematic investment plans or you let your continuation of it go on. So emotions plus your decisions. Now see, these 3 points over here will more or less summarize what I have been trying to tell with this story above. Now see, the most important thing, whether it is your personal life, your business life, your financial life, or whatever life, emotional intelligence is very important. Now see, I may not be an expert at this topic, but I can tell you at scenarios where there are scenarios whereby a lot of fear could be instilled. Like say example, if somebody is roaming on the road at extreme midnight, or if somebody has to do something which is out of the comfort zone, the brain is obviously wanting you to keep you safe. Now in scenarios like this, when either you're admitted to hospital or your loved one is admitted to hospital, it is how you manage your emotions and keep yourself cool, because of which you'll be taking the right decision. Because remember, every decision is an opportunity cost. Something you leave out is where something you will be able to do. Now say for example, Raju example, because his planning was not that firm from the time he started earning, given apart that his salary was comparatively less, he stopped his systematic investment plans and he was not able to accumulate those units for his investment, which eventually gave him a comparatively less returns in the long run. But when you see Raji, for Raji, she was planned in a basis whereby her salary was slightly more, and she had already ensured that her jar system of money. Now, what is a jar system? I've been telling in my past videos as well. You have three layers whereby you keep one layer of money for your needs, one for your wants, and one for your investments. So, her investment strategy was very clear that she wanted to keep putting 30,000 rupees for her investments. As a result, what happens? In the long run, when the markets recovered and everything became fine, her units accumulated in that particular year gave her more returns if you see on a comparison to Raju. But see, this is not a comparison here, it is two ideologies and mindsets of two different people. It's not about who is earning what or who has done what. This is just an example. See, anyone can be a Raju or Raji, but what is important here is what you get as a learning. What you get here as a learning is that what are the things you can do in scenarios and what you cannot do. It all depends on you. Now, see, there is a third scenario whereby if I write it down over here, again a fictional character named Rajan. Now, Rajan did not go through all of these scenarios here. Rajan was very clear, his financial plan was good. He knew why he needed that X amount of corpus for his future, everything was sorted. But Rajan felt that compared to his peers, now see, when the comparison comes is where all the mistakes start happening. Compared to his peers, he was making comparatively less returns in his investment. So what happened to Rajan? Rajan eventually, he decided to remove all his money from the systematic investment plan and switch the particular mutual fund or stock or whatever, wherever he was investing. I don't know about all that. But as far as I know, I remember him telling me he switched all of his investments from one asset class to the other. Now, in that scenario, what happens? Your units accumulated will go, everything goes, and you eventually have to pay tax as well to the government. So, I mean, you have to pay, but why do you need to remove from one mutual fund or stock and put it in the other? Why not let that one conviction that you have go on for a long time? See, I always tell this, it is a decent example according to me. You all must have seen a small child, 0 years, just now born child. Just now as in born, the child was born yesterday and now the child has a life. From the time the child was born, I'm just writing down here, from the time the child was born, 0 years, you had to feed it milk and whatever was required for the child. Now with time, what happens? The child grows to 5 years. Then he becomes 10 years. And then accordingly, he grows. Now, what happens here eventually? You take care of the child because it is your child. The same if you can do it with an investment, that you go to your financial advisor and you say you want this particular type of fund or whatever, which has a convicted result over a last, convicted as in you have a lot of conviction on this particular investment, that for the next 10, 15, 20 years, whatever be the scenario, you be committed to that one fund or how many ever funds you have in your portfolio, but you won't change. If you have this mindset and you actually go with the flow, then my friend, you can actually make those returns which you're obviously wanting. But see, this also comes with the scenario that inflation is there and inflation adjusted results and all of that. That is also there. But you know what? It is a mindset game over here, and that is why playing this game is difficult. For you to actually stay committed is also a very big task, because not a lot of people can see losses, especially when turmoils come. And that is why I say, if you are committed to one thing and you give it a period of time, you will eventually see the growth. It's like telling if somebody has just started to play cricket, with time, the cricketer will improve himself, and there will be a time, whether it's destined or by hard work, he will eventually start getting success slowly, which will usually happen with time. Now, see, whatever I've said now should be taken as education purpose only. Okay? If you follow all of this, it is a bonus for you, because see, it is like a mindset training that I'm giving you in this video. I really thank you so much for watching this video till the end. If you did get a lot of value by watching this video, you can do share it to a lot of people. And I feel out there are not a lot of people who give mindset trainings on investments and all, because it is very easy for anyone to come on the internet and tell you can buy this particular investment asset class or whatever. See, I am not that kind of person. I want the best for you. I want to give a lot of value for you, and that is the reason I come every Wednesday and Sunday for you at 8 p.m. IST. Thank you so much for watching this video once again. Thank you.